Well, hello everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole right here on Wild Earth. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the show today. And what an awesome start here in the Kruger with these two buffalo bulls that have found the best spot in the park, I think, busy chewing their cud and enjoying the cool water. Remember that this is, of course, a live interactive show, and I would love to hear from you. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from, what you're looking forward to about the show today, maybe what snacks you have, and you can do so on the Wild Earth website or the app. You can also chat to us in the YouTube chat stream, or you can join the conversation on X using the hashtag Wild Earth. The river is basically these buffaloes' personal swimming pool. And buffalo bulls in particular do like to hang out in whether it's pools or flowing rivers. And I know they love to hang out around the Sabi River, where we are looking at the moment, often found in the reed beds and along the riverside in this area. Very normal to see two of them. There could be others around that we can't see, but buffalo bulls in particular do form smaller bachelor groups, sometimes completely on their own, sometimes in groups of between 2 to about 6 or so. And they hang out together. As they get older, they tend to be more and more isolated towards the end of their life, but sometimes they do just break away from the bigger herds to gather their strength, sort of get better grazing, and build up their condition, and then come back and challenge dominant bulls in the herd to be able to take over and mate with females. These don't look very old. They've still got their skin is in quite good condition. It's not too dark. Light, around the eyes from a lot of ear flapping over the years to chase the flies away. Oh, wow, hello to everyone. Penelope, Joanne, um, Johanna as well, hoping for some birds. Mercedes, of course, and Jive Bunny. Yes, they are chilling at the spa. I think that water must be a lovely temperature, not too cold, not too warm. You can just see how that mouth is moving around and round and round. And there's many animals out here that practice this behavior called ruminating. And it's basically what happens when the stomach themselves of the ruminants um, basically can't digest the cellulose the way a hind gut fermenter can. Different enzymes and digestive juices that are in their bodies. And so what they have to do, they have to chew all of that vegetative matter until it's fine enough so that the body can extract the nutrition. And that's what the chewing is for. Ari, hello. Lovely to hear from you joining us from the Netherlands. Jive Bunny, you want to know if pathfinders in the buffalo herd are female, um, or if it can be males. So, from my understanding, Jive Bunny, when it comes to pathfinders in terms of buffalo herds, they are females. I have never heard of them being the buffalo bulls, and generally they are some of the more the fitter, healthier female buffaloes who sort of lead, inverted commas, the herd. And it can be something that is not necessarily voted for or done, I think, by it has any sort of benefit in terms of, I suppose, depending on the size of the herd, being a pathfinder means that you do end up with some of the better grazing. So we were just looking here in the reeds for some southern, I think, red bishop nests. Usually we see the red ones, well, that I've seen around the Sabi River. Johan, yes, they are not too worried about crocs. A buffalo doesn't really have to worry about that, I must say. Even I've seen buffaloes very comfortable to be in rivers where there are many crocs around. I think I think potentially the crocodiles are just as intimidated by a buffalo. I mean, a buffalo will flick a croc if it needs to. It'll fight back, but it just goes to show how sort of confident buffaloes are, especially buffalo bulls. They don't give too many hoots about other potential threats. I mean, even when it comes to lions, it's a remarkable thing to see when a lion is, or even lions are hunting a group of buffalo. They don't just back away and sort of scatter in panic. You've got these bulls that come forward in the herd and they form like a wall. It's incredible to see it actually take place, and like chase the lions off. And it's really when there's enough lions together, or like two males or something like that, or perhaps maybe an injured buffalo in the mix, or the lions are able to flank around these bulls, or let's say the intimidation that these bulls are trying to show the lions doesn't work. Because we know that lions do successfully hunt buffalo, but they've also got their tactics to deter them. And that's also part of why a lion's success is so low. Below 20% actually of all their hunts are not successful. And it's just part of the buffalo demeanor and the way they are that is, you know, that sort of I ain't afraid of nothing type of attitude. Well, it's been very cool to spend some time with these buffaloes. Who knows, we might be back later on, but let's head over to Towel. Wow, what a scene it is. How beautiful. I see a new little wildebeest calf there. And the wildebeests are definitely dropping here now. There's some still very pregnant females. So clearly they drop about a month and a bit later in this area of Madikwe in comparison to the Kruger. And you can just see how brown that little one is still. And I think in the next few days we'll see more and more of these little ones around. PB and Jam, lovely to hear from you and have you with us today. And sounding very chilly where you are in the world, -12. Goodness gracious, that is not quite a freezer, but definitely freezing, below freezing. You're not sure if you would enjoy a dip in the water with those buffaloes. I mean, I definitely would keep my distance. Look how pretty those yellow flowers are with those wildebeest in between. Phoebe and Jam, you actually also mentioned water with the water buffaloes. In case you are interested, those buffalo the buffalo that we get in Africa is actually known as the African or Cape buffalo. It's a different species of buffalo from what we talk about water buffalo that are actually Asia specific, but also spread, I think, throughout Australia and North America, and more of a domesticated breed, I believe, in comparison to the African buffalo that is, I believe, a lot more aggressive and wild in terms of their social structure, and is really unable to be domesticated because of their nature and the danger element of them. What we're looking at, though, is indeed jive bunny, some galloping gnu's, similar in a lot of ways, but much smaller in size in comparison to buffalo. This young impala actually has a big flap of skin open on its hind leg. Something definitely tried to hunt it. know, Mercedes, it's so difficult to believe that this is the same towel that we see for the rest of the year, but how gorgeous are these wildebeest moving through these bright green, um, the bright green felt really, and how cute are these little ones. So nice to see little babies again. The ones on Juma, where I'm based at the moment, are already so big, and they're so wonky on their legs when they're little like this. Hello, little one. Its horns are just two little knobs on top of its head. You can slightly see them starting to come out. But a real concern for wildebeest, however, in comparison to buffalo, are crocodiles. I think there was a sighting here the other day of a croc that grabbed the lower jaw of a wildebeest, which was just unbelievable with African. And it's one of those things that you know can happen, but you don't think that you'll actually um, have it captured on camera. Okay, let's head over to Founders. Oh, hi, there's a little warthog family here. Some tiny piglets. This is very cute. One thing that warthogs really love to do is have a good mud wallow. And these baby ones are no exception. Clearly, Mom wanted to come for a drink. And they never hang around long, I will say. I've noticed with the warthogs, especially in mud wallows, maybe because they're sort of out in the open, a little bit vulnerable. I don't know. But they often just come and splash in and then leave again. Phoebe and Jem, they are super cute, aren't they? And when they're so little like that, it's difficult to just looking at us here. Difficult to imagine them actually growing up when they're so small, but very cute. Oh, it's a giraffe. I just had the craziest moment trying to figure out what this was. Because it's the side profile, when I saw it, I thought we were going to see sort of the front because when it's blurry, it looks like two eyes, the darker patches, or like maybe a bird with the ossicode being the neck and sort of like wing I don't know lines. But now it's very clear that it's a giraffe. My mind was playing tricks on me. I wonder if it's actually sitting down. Don't know how steep the hill is there. If it was standing up, it'd have to be really far down because its horns are already quite big. But I think it may actually be sitting there, just its head popping up over for us to see. Well, maybe that giraffe will at some stage come for a drink. Also, perhaps we'll have some. Oh, there's another giraffe head. It's just strange because they are big animals, but we normally see them because of their height, and now they just their heads are popping out over the horizon, which is fascinating. Nice to see more arriving though. Hopefully, they'll show a little bit more of themselves. tail there. Often see them here at founders. All right, well, let's head over to Hyena Pan for our first elephants of the show. Oh, well, this is lovely, isn't it? We are having some fantastic elephant sightings here over the last few weeks, and it is such a beautiful spot. Hoping that we get a little bit of a pool party happening here. I know many of you watching love to see that. We were fortunate on our sunrise drive to have two young boys having the time of their life in a waterhole. Didn't look like they would ever leave. This is looking quite relaxed. A lot of them actually, I think, having a little bit of a rest, sort of in the surrounding mapani trees. This little one starting to splash itself a bit though. Thanks, Colin. I appreciate your kind words there. I'm glad that you enjoy my commentary. And I always try to balance between adding value but also letting what we're watching speak for itself. Sometimes there's no real commentary needed, but it's also nice to chat to you all when topics do come up and be able to engage and delve a little bit deeper, which is what I really enjoy about this show as well. Interesting to see these two here. Definitely, I think, looks to be a mother and a calf. An older calf, though, over 3 years, maybe about four. But it's interesting what they're doing with their feet. I'm not sure what they're doing. Usually we see them sort of kicking around with their foot when they're trying to churn up the mud so that it makes it really nice and pasty to throw onto themselves. Oh, wow, look at that. Those clouds are beautiful. Pity I'm not an artist because that would be something I would want to paint or sketch. And you see now mom is churning it up a little bit more, but they're still drinking it and not necessarily splashing themselves, which is what I'm finding very interesting. See, it's almost using its foot to scoop the water into its trunk, but it's going onto the ground. You can see the resistance as its foot touches the bottom. It's making like a little well there. Fascinating. Zenbe, you've asked a very interesting question about snake venom and elephants and if it has the same effect in terms of something like an elephant versus a human. And size definitely plays a role, without a doubt. The smaller the prey that venom is injected into, the less body tissue it has to almost, let's say, dilute it in a way, the more effect that it sort of gets, it's more concentrated and can basically kill instantly to smaller things. And that's often why humans, not every snake bite is fatal for those that are venomous. And there is a bit of a window in order to get help before it can become fatal. So, in that way, with elephants being such a massive um, animal, and I mean, weighing, 100 times more potentially than um, a human, it's something that would take a lot of venom to actually kill an elephant. Although there are some cobras, I believe, with venom strong enough to be able to kill an elephant, and also it depends on the size of the elephant. So a baby that's bitten um, by a puff adder or even a cobra or something like that, if enough venom is actually injected, then that can prove fatal. But also, we have to remember the thickness of an animal's skin in comparison to our skin. So, whether how deeply injected that may be, how much actually manages to get through the skin into the bloodstream, whether something is cytotoxic, which basically means that it affects the area, versus neurotoxic or even hemotoxic, which are the three types of venoms that one gets within snakes. So all of those are factors, but something that would kill a human would not necessarily be able to kill an elephant, or something that would have very bad effects on a human would not necessarily have those same effects on an elephant because of the size. Shiv, you ask a very interesting question about jackberry and marula fruits when they fruit, and no, they don't fruit at the same time, which is also very cool. So that there's fruit provided for animals almost all year round, with jackalberries actually fruiting in the drier season. They flower in late summer, and part of the sort of the cycle for trees is once they have flowers, then the fruit comes. And so when they flower, so marulas actually flower very early in summer, and now we have the fruits at this time of the year, and slowly they'll stop fruiting. But for the jackalberry tree, they actually flower late in the summer, so only coming into flowering in a few months' time, and then the fruit will appear as the dry season comes in winter. So it's very cool to know they don't fruit at the same time, and therefore there's fruit provided for many animals that do rely on it um, at different times of the year, which is very cool. And elephants also love, and we know elephants love marulas, but they do also like jackalberries. And we can see some arriving now, which is so cool. What a sighting! PB and jam, baboons, yes. Hippos, no. So hippos are very strict grazers. They eat grass, not known to eat fruit. Uh, Possibly along the way while they were munching some grass, they may have got a marula in there by accident. But it's definitely not what they are after. Baboons, very much so. In fact, not only marulas, but also jackalberries. And often we hardly ever see the jackalberries in fully ripe form, which is sort of a purpley color, because they are long eaten while they're still green on the trees by things like baboons and monkeys. Well, as these elephants move off, wow, what a beautiful scene. It blows me away every time with the sky and the clouds and the greenery. It's been wonderful. Let's head over to Stony Point to catch up with the penguins. Oh, that's very cute. Clearly found a comfy spot. Or channeling its inner Dusty. I feel like it's been inspired. It does look like a beautiful day here in East Bay in the Western Cape of South Africa. Oh, here comes a friend to join it. And it is unbelievably special to be able to see these images. can also see all of these black cormorants here. There may be one or two white-breasted ones as well in between. And you can see it's their favorite place to sit because of all the white bird poop that's changed the color of the rocks from gray to white. Wildlife lady will have to check if the dusties are around. I assume they will be. I don't know if we'll be able to see them, but we can always have a look for you. We've had some lovely sightings with the dusties over the last, well, months, I would say, with them hanging out here. I feel like we've gotten to know the little Hyrax family that's living here at Stony Point quite well. I was just saying to Nadine, who's now directing the show, how beautiful it's looking here today. The sea is so blue and clear. It's giving some serious tropical island feelings, even though it's definitely not going to be tropical waters if you put your toes in here. Very icy, but so pretty. Wow. Ah, there's a Dusty. Looks like it's doing a little bit of self-grooming there. Zenbe, you actually raise an interesting point as to whether crocodiles eat penguins. So when it comes to something like that, I mean, in essence, yes, they would eat a penguin if the opportunity presented itself, because crocodiles will pretty much eat anything. Um, but the overlap in distribution between habitat of crocodile and penguin are very few, if none at all, other than perhaps saltwater crocodiles. But then they would also have to brace a lot of cold weather, which generally is not suited to crocodiles, being reptilian in nature. Penguins are specially adapted for cool waters, and they have these incredible coats with these finely packed feathers. I saw a cross section of one the other day, which was just fascinating to see. So that, in fact, that question in its own form, I'm sure they would eat a penguin. Whether they have the opportunity to eat one is actually a different story. There was also another fantastic question by Ivan. You're watching from a very cold North Carolina. Hi, Ivan. And to do with drinking water for seabirds, which of course includes penguins as well. So it's fascinating to learn about and to understand a little bit about it. But seabirds, including penguins, have no problem drinking salt water. And in fact, if we look at penguins specifically, a lot of the water that they ingest is actually from the fish while they're hunting the fish that they eat. You can imagine sort of diving and swallowing them whole while they're still alive, even. A lot of water comes in with that. And these birds, seabirds and penguins, although technically all classified as the same group, um, have special glands near the eyes that actually filter salt out from the blood. And I've just learned recently actually how that works in terms of that gland. Then the duct from those glands is connected to the bill or the beak of the bird, and the salt drains out through the grooves of the bill and drips off the end, which is fascinating. I do believe that if they have an opportunity to drink fresh water, they would do it and take it. But also, a lot of the moisture that they need does come from the food that they eat as well. Fascinating. Well, we had a teaser of giraffes earlier, so I think let's see if we can see some at Hold on. Oh, I love it. This is beautiful. We have a giraffe drinking with a multitude of oxpeckers on its back. I'm hoping that it decides to come for another drink, but even so, it's just beautiful here at Aldonia. A few birds around. I'm just checking if they are all foxpeckers or are there some starlings there as well. I would love to see a superb starling, one of my favorite birds to see here in East Africa. There are some doves as well that are flying in and out. We were actually talking the other day about some of the knobs that develop on a giraffe skull. You can clearly see behind, between the eyes there, a knob developing sort of calcifications, especially in, we see that in bulls, male giraffes. Oh, they're having a bit of a dust bath. Ooh, I think we might get another drink. I love all these oxpeckers just seated in a line down the giraffe's neck. It's fantastic. What a view. Lodge, that's a great question. Something that I've not necessarily thought of directly before as to how a giraffe's able to regurgitate its food up that long neck. But just like every ruminant that is able to do that, I suppose for giraffes, it's just a lot more um, prominent in how they do it because of the length of the neck. But it's due to the highly muscular esophagus that these animals have, and that food's actually basically the muscles expand and contract to push that cud, that we call it, back up the neck to the mouth. So it's a muscular mechanism that works to allow that food to be transported up the entire length of the neck. Wildlife lady, yes, it does seem that these oxpeckers are particularly fond of this giraffe. And Doc Main Lover, it is great to see giraffes coming for a drink. And hopefully we'll see this one spread out its legs again and dip its neck down for something more to drink. No, it looks like there's now some oryx in the background, probably fringe-eared, maybe coming towards the waterhole. Haven't seen them in a while, I must say. Oh, elephant. Also arriving for a drink. This is awesome. Yeah, Catherine, absolutely. Such beautiful tusks on this elephant. And he still looks quite young, relatively speaking. I think those tusks could get even longer and bigger. But he is a beautiful elephant. Oh my goodness. I'm just captured by him here. I love the sounds as well, listening to him drinking. Darkmane lover, yes, I agree. Like I was saying, I think this elephant may turn into a tusker one day. Sort of borderline now. Those tusks are beautiful and impressive, but not quite on the level of what we refer to as tuskers. They'll just need to get a bit longer and then get really nice and thick as well. But he's well on his way to achieving that, possible another 10 to 15 years' time. is so relaxing to watch an elephant cool down at a waterhole, and just he has no rush at all, can take his time to spray himself with water. It was interesting though to see immediately when he arrived that the first place that he sprayed was over each eye, really on the front of the face, and then behind the ears, I think, were next. Now slowly coating the entire body. I thought a friend might join. Also, beautiful tusks, a lot more pointing forward and bent forward than the one that's currently at the water. I was actually just thinking of the tusker that is very well known from this waterhole named One Ton. I haven't seen him for a very long time. I don't know if anyone watching does have an idea of when we last, or when he was last seen, not necessarily during our live at the Waterhole show, but anytime on Africa, to know that he is still around. I'm sure he is somewhere in the area. But yes, Missy, imagine him, one of the biggest bulls that we see here, with another impressive cow and the offspring from the two of them. It will be amazing. And hopefully pass on the fantastic tusk genes that are here of this area. So many elephants have lovely long tusks. Now we have bull number 3 who's come here. Oh, cool. He's got far less impressive tusks than his friends, but I think definitely one could have broken off. Even the one that is there could have been splintered and has become a lot shorter. Let's head back over to Botswana to Hahinapan. Well, this is cool. Not something we see every day, but here we have some sable antelope that have come out of the Mopanies to say hello. Oh, a beautiful male there in the background. You can see how much darker he is. These sable antelope are so beautiful and not something that we get to spend very much time with at all here in the Kruger. They are around, but very sort of limited to certain areas. So it's wonderful to have them on the waterhole show today. Lady Macbeth, I know it is quite a lot of sable, quite a large group here. They can be in larger herds. I'm just trying to work out what the dynamics are. There seem to be a few males, younger males together. Those darker ones are almost black in color, are the male sable. But if we do get to see a very dominant male, he's got very thick horns and almost curved all the way around. These are getting there, but not quite there yet. I assume much like other antelope species, they also form bachelor herds sometimes or hang out submissively to a dominant bull. While at heart, this is also becoming one of my favorite spots here, as part of the Waterhole show. It's so dynamic, I think, is the word that I would use, in terms of the difference between the seasons, but also the variety of animals we see here is fantastic, and now sable as well. Lady Macbeth, you say that sable are still very much on your bucket list. It's not very common in KwaZulu Natal, which is where your destination of choice is. So yes, it is. Um, Depending where you are in South Africa, on smaller game farms or even some reserves, they may be quite frequently seen. But in places like the Greater Kruger or even Botswana, like this, they are on the rarer side than what they have been in the past. Spas, it is amazing. I agree, definitely. Also, my first sable here at Hyena Pan. You want to know what they usually feed on here. So at the moment, it looks like they're eating the short grass. That's their preference. But I do believe that as that grass um, disappears, they also browse and eat different leaves and things like that. But at the moment, definitely enjoying the grass. Well, let's finish off how we began with some buffalo in the Sabi River. Who have been joined by some hippo. Clearly not too worried to share, but should that hippo get any closer, I'll tell you that buffalo probably wouldn't hesitate to show it that they can both be here. Although a hippo can also be very intimidating. Fascinating stuff, this, isn't it? I love to see the interspecies moments where we get to see sort of, I suppose, in a way, unlikely species sharing certain areas. But you can see that hippo favoring deeper water in comparison to the buffalo. Dark Main Lover, it's such a pleasure. I've had a wonderful time with you today. I really enjoyed the show. We've had so many different wonderful sightings and some great questions along the way as well. And indeed, I'll be back on drive this afternoon. We will be live again at 4 p.m. for our sunset safari. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, everyone. We always appreciate you all and all of your comments and questions along the way. It was really lovely to host the show for you all, and I hope that you have enjoyed it just as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. As mentioned, we'll be live again rather soon, so please stay tuned to Wild Earth. And I wish you a pleasant day ahead or evening, depending where you are in the world. And I'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now.